How's it going? Today it is Saturday, which means it is Park Run Day, and we are actually in Finland at the moment, so we are going to the TOKOINRANTA Parkrun in Helsinki. So TOKOINRANTA Parkrun is located, as I said, in the capital city of Finland, which is Helsinki, and it's to the northern side of the city. So this will be my first park run in Finland, and it'll be around Tuvalu Bay and Djurgård Bay. I've probably completely mispronounced that, so any of the Finnish people watching this, I do apologise. But at the time of running it, both of these bays were frozen, which gave it a really picturesque, stunning run, and it was incredible because I'd never seen a lake or anything frozen before, so I was mesmerised, to be honest. But bearing in mind the lakes were frozen, it actually wasn't too cold to run, so it was perfect really for us, and it was all on hard standing as well, which was perfect, and it is mostly flat as well, apart from the middle section where you cross over a bridge which is going over the railway lines. And therefore, with it all being on hard standing surfaces, there is no need for trail shoes. You'll be fine with road shoes, and also if you do have a dog which you want to take around the course, that is perfectly fine as well, and it is also buggy and pram friendly too, so if you've got a kid that you want to push around or whatever, then that is fine on this course as well. And if you're worried about any busy courses, this is definitely not a busy course. There was around 62 runners on the day that I went, so if you're looking to try and get one of your best finish positions, then maybe it'd be a good one for that, although they seem to be pretty quick, the times for the first 10 positions when we ran. And the final thing to note is that there are toilets around the vicinity too, so it's perfect for anyone that needs a loo before they run. However, if you've got this far and you're still wondering what is a park run, it is essentially a 5k run ran by a group of volunteers who time and marshal the event. You get your own finish position and your finishing time as well, and then after about an hour or so your official time of the run is sent out to you. And now it's time to take a look at the course as a summary. So it is an out there and back course. You can see that the hill is there in the centre over that railway line, so you're going round both of these bays. Tuvalu Bay, you're basically doing a whole circuit of that, heading your way back over the hills again, and as you can see in that top left hand corner, the gradient is not that much, with an elevation gain there of 30 metres and a max elevation of 32 metres. Right, and now it's time to take a look at the course in a bit more detail then. So we're going to start here at the Djurgård Bay, and you're going to make your way up towards the north, going around the bay. There's loads of seagulls and stuff here, so I definitely recommend not eating any food on the way around, otherwise it will be taken off you. And then once you get to this far side, you're going to make your way uphill towards the top. Now this is the steepest section of the whole course, and once you hit that top point you'll reach a bridge. You're going to then cross this bridge over the railway track, do a little bit of a loop U-turn before heading your way down. This is a very gradual decline all the way to the bottom before hitting the flat. Now the rest of this bit will be flat. So you're going to make your way all the way around Tuvalu Bay, past maybe a few restaurants, trees, and the frozen lake, which was on my right hand side, which was stunning. And then you're going to do a U-turn there at the far side, do all of that again, come all the way back, and it's just an out and back course, so you're going to come all the way back round, come to this bridge. There's this little bit of a steep hill here actually, which I do remember as well. Then you cross the bridge, come straight back down this hill and head your way back to where you started, and that will be your finish line. So that is the course, and these are some incredible records set by people who have ran the TOKOINRANTA Park Run. So the fastest male was James Olsen with a time of 16 minutes and 18 seconds, and the fastest female being Jess Saunders with a time of 18 minutes and 46 seconds, both incredibly fast. And then the average number of runners is around 47, so very few runners on average with a time of 30 minutes and 51 seconds. I always do like the park runs with fewer runners because it gives it more of a community feel. Everyone's really happy on the day, all the volunteers are buzzing to be there, and it just supports you to do your 5k. And so there's some incredible stats there, and now let's have a look at my stats. So currently ran 21 park runs, with this one being number 22, and my best finish position was 4th at Zielony Jar in Krakow. And then my fastest time was at Summerdale Video with a time of 22:32, all the way down to 5 Arches with a time of 23:25. So that's what we're aiming to beat. Try and get on the leaderboard. So the run director did a quick brief. Everyone was called to the start line. Everyone was taking their coats off and other layers, as you can see here on this right hand side. You can leave all of your coats, jackets, bags, whatever, just here, because you start where you finish. That's the perfect thing about this park run, and then you're going to get into line to get ready for the run. As you can see, it is fairly congested at the start because it's not too wide a path and you don't want to be knocking people also into the river on that left hand side. But we're about to get going. 3, 2, 1, we are off and the park run has started. As you can see, a little bit of a slow start but not too bad, and we will start to pick up our pace in just a second. Keep an eye out for that bench. You don't want to stack it there right at the start, but you can see it widens up a little bit so you can get around people. And there's also a grass section here which I don't recommend running on because you don't want to ruin the grass and stuff, so try and stick on the hard standing. And we are off now. On the left hand side you can see that frozen lake, I believe as well. This is the same as in Norway where you're meant to keep to the right and overtake on the left hand side, so try and do keep to the right hand side unless you are overtaking. As you can see, we are now running alongside the no, not the Tulu Bay, sorry, the Dangar Bay Lake or something. I've completely forgot what it is called, but this is where all the seagulls are as well, so don't whip any food out, otherwise it'll be taken out of your hands. But we're heading now towards the railway track. So we're 1:19 in. Someone there on that right hand side who has done 100 park runs, so very well done to them. You can see it's thawed out a little bit as well on the lake there on the left, but this is the steepest section of the run now which we are heading towards. It's all still on hard standing, but we're heading our way uphill towards the top of where the bridge is located to cross the railway track. Remember, this bit's maybe a little bit gravelly as well, so watch your footing here. You can see just how steep it is just from the camera angle there, but we've managed to get up to that top section and we are now heading our way towards that bridge which you'll see on the left hand side, and we are about to cross it as well. The bridge I think is a wooden slats if I remember correctly, so it is nice and flat as well and you're not going to trip over anything. But that's probably the hardest bit of the park run. Apart from on the way back you obviously have to do the similar sort of climb on the other side. But here we go, we're crossing the railway track now, still all on gravel sections, and then we're going to head our way down towards the Tuvalu Bay. So the bridge has been crossed and we're now heading our way down towards Tuvalu Bay, so this is nice downhill now after doing that difficult uphill. So we're just going to do that U-turn here, and then we're heading on to sort of, I think it's like another sort of bridge, but you need to be wary of like cyclists and things down here as well, so you don't want to get knocked over by anyone that's riding their bike. But this is all downhill, so it's nice and easy, gentle jog to Tuvalu Bay, and then once we're doing that, we're doing the whole lap of Tuvalu Bay and then returning home back to the start. And we are now crossing the bridge between Djurgårds and Tuvalu Bay. We've just crossed that and now we are next to Tuvalu Bay, which is on that right hand side. But if you want any more information about any of the gradients and the elevations, then do make sure to check out my Strava, which I've left in the description below. You can follow that and it will have all of the different gradients for these park runs. But we're doing it all right at the moment. It is 5 minutes and 23 seconds, so we're probably on time to get around that 5 arches time. I think it's going to be a pretty close one, to be honest, between this one and the 5 arches time, although I had been walking around all of Oslo, Stockholm and now Helsinki for the last 7 days, so this was definitely very tiring for me. My legs were already aching before I even started, but we're still doing a good time at the moment, so hopefully we can keep that up. We're now doing that lap of Tuvalu Bay. You can slightly see part of it there on that right hand side, and yeah, I was right. If you keep to the right and then overtake on the left, and also watch out for public. It's actually quite a nice bay for even if you just wanted to go for a little walk around it. So even if you're not running it, but maybe one of your family members is running it or one of your friends is running it, I would definitely recommend just doing a walk around the 2 bays. There's a few little restaurants as well dotted about too. I'm not sure if they'll be open at that time, but there are some that are dotted around which look quite nice. So I definitely recommend visiting just this area in general. I'd say we're about halfway around the lake right now, so we're just coming up towards the other half now before we do the U-turn and then head our way back. We're doing quite well at the moment though, with a time of 9 minutes and 17 seconds. Very impressive there. Person storming past us there on that right hand side and now heading their way towards the next person. But you can see there the lake on that right hand side. Don't know if you can see if it's frozen. It's maybe you can just see it in the distance, but it was a stunning setting and scenery for a run. Probably one of the best sceneries I've ever had. Holyrood as well was very nice too. Holyrood in Edinburgh. Two very stunning park runs with a great scenery, which I find helps you a little bit more if it's just like out there and back and it's all flat, nothing around apart from trees or roads and stuff like that. Maybe sometimes it doesn't really motivate me to go as quickly, whereas this is just stunning, so I can just look around, takes my mind off the running and get hopefully a better time. And there we go. I think that on the left hand side there was the person in first position, so they must have turned around, which is good news for us. We're coming towards the end hopefully of the second section, the Tuvalu Bay, and then we'll be doing our turn round, and it's the back section then all the way back to the start. I think it's just at the end of here where the U-turn is, so be careful not to run into anyone. And here we go, here's the volunteer that's at the U-turn, given the quick high five, and that is the U-turn done, half of it complete with a time of 11 minutes and 48 seconds. So it is going to be a really, really close one to whether we get onto our leaderboard for our quickest times or not. I reckon if I did this again, but not after spending 7 days walking around different cities, then maybe it would have been a different story and it could have been a lot quicker. But unfortunately, I can't keep making excuses, so I'll have to see how we get on this time. If you are enjoying this park run, do make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you want to see some more of this park run content. It really does help the channel a lot, and I do love anyone that comments down below as well, whether they were at the run or whether they've done it before, their favourite park runs. Any park run discussion can be put down in the comments and I will try and respond to everyone. But we are now heading our way back still, and we're looking like a good time at the moment, 13:31. I'm pretty happy with my time, so hopefully we can just keep this pace up until the very end. I've got a feeling that hill towards the end is going to be a bit of a struggle. And also one more thing which I have forgot to mention is that the park runs in Finland do start at 9:30 AM, not 9 AM like they do in the UK. So do make sure that you know that, otherwise you might be turning up half an hour early. You might get a very good warm-up in, to be honest. But if you don't want to turn up half an hour early, they start at 9:30 AM instead of 9. What was also quite funny was I actually had a look to see last week whether the course, whether it was on and stuff like that, and it actually was fully snowed, so it snowed all over the paths and stuff like that, so everyone was actually running on snow last week rather than these paths. So we complain about the weather in the UK where it's rainy, sunny, you don't know what it's going to be, but out there in Finland it just snows all of a sudden and it is freezing. So I was quite lucky on the day that it hadn't snowed, and I was in my shorts as well. Got loads of people in long trousers. I definitely made an error there wearing shorts, but it sort of makes me run a little bit faster because I know I'm cold, so I want to go a bit quicker so I can warm up and get to the finish as soon as possible. And so Tuvalu Bay has been completed. We are back heading over that bridge between the two bays and towards the railway track. They're cutting in on that right hand side just to be careful of not hitting any cyclists, as I was mentioning earlier. And I took a quick look over at the bay because I was like, this is an unbelievably good looking park run compared to some of the other ones. So we're now going to keep our going, and I'd probably say this is probably the hardest bit, getting back up to that railway bridge, because the first hill at the start is quite steep, but you've got all your energy still, so you don't struggle too much, whereas this is like a prolonged you're knackered, you're coming up towards the end of the park run. It's a prolonged hill, it's a little bit less of an incline, but it's probably a bit of a longer hill, probably a more difficult section than the first bit. And there we go, so we've stormed the hill. The guy in blue, I have to say, was very impressive. He literally sprant up the hill, and I have to say, he must have saved up some energy. He must have done this park run quite a few times before, because he knew exactly what he was doing with that hill. He's pulled away from us there in front. We've slowed down a little bit, but that hill did take it out of us. But we are now heading over that railway bridge, knowing now that there is no more hills to go uphill, and it is now a downhill followed by a flat to the finish as we make our way back to the other bay. Hopefully we can get a decent time. It looks like we're actually going to be very close to the 5 arches time, but I'm not quite sure if we're going to beat it. I think we've slowed down a little bit and that hill has taken it out of us. On the right hand side here as well, if you don't want to actually do the running, you've got a dog. There is actually a dog play area there where it's all fenced, so your dog can't get out. You may be able to see a couple of dogs there on the left. But we are now heading down for the final time towards the bay that we're at to begin with. So we're just coming downhill now. We're trying to be careful with my knees as well, because I did have an ACL problem at one point, so I didn't want to sprint down the hill. I wanted to take it nice and easily, and then hopefully get a little bit of a sprint finish once we get to the bottom of the hill. But look at that view just from the GoPro there. Absolutely stunning over the lake. And we are now doing a sprint finish towards the finish line. We're in a pretty decent position. I think I took a look literally over my shoulder just then to check if anyone was behind me. And I do like it when people are behind me, because that sort of pushes me on to go a little bit quicker. Even though it isn't a race, that is what I like about a park run, just having that extra person either in front or behind to spur you on to the end. But the finish line is just in the distance now. And it does look like it's going to be very close. We've got the frozen lake on that right hand side. The sprint finish. Can we get to the end? You can see them there in the distance with the stopwatches. 23:20. Oh, it doesn't look like we're going to beat the 5 arches time with the time of 23:25. No, unfortunately not. So we're not going to make it onto the leaderboard. But it's only going to be like 10, maybe 15 seconds away from that time. Here we go, the final sprint finish. The run director on the left cheering me on. He did say well done as well, and there we go. We finished there with a time of 23:36 with a position of 11th, so I was very happy with that, and that's one of my highest finish positions as well that I have ever done. But yeah, really stunning run for sure. And that is TOKOINRANTA Parkrun complete. A very, very stunning one, as I've said about 50-60 times. Definitely recommend doing this one, and that is our 5th tee as well, so we've done so many tees for the alphabeteer challenge that we can now do 5 alphabets worth of tees. So I don't know what's going on. We need to start getting some other letters. In terms of whether it's good for your PB or not, I wouldn't say it is quite good enough for your PB, only because of that hill in the middle or the bridge onto either side. I'd say if you remove that, this would be pretty ideal for a PB, especially in terms of park runs, because you can't get really much flatter than that. So this is one of 2 park runs which are located in the Helsinki vicinity, but if you want a close one, nice and easy one to get to, I definitely recommend doing this one. And I just want to say a huge thank you to all of the volunteers who ran the event. They were all really happy, excited, buzzing, and they kept you going, cheering you on, and they were all really friendly and kind as well at the end. They all also spoke to us in English, which made it much easier for us tourists, so we do definitely appreciate the fact that you're not speaking your native language and you're speaking English just to help us out. It was also perfect running conditions for me on the day, but that can be a lot worse in Helsinki for sure, especially when I did, like I said earlier, check the last week's one, and it was just basically snow everywhere. So I was very lucky on the day for it to be this green and not very slippy at all. But like we do with every park run, we'll take a quick look through the pinch points. So you've obviously got the hill in the centre where you have to cross the railway bridge, so that unfortunately will slow you down. And then I wouldn't really say there's many more pinch points. Maybe the fact it's a little bit on gravel, so that could trip you over, but I won't count that one as an actual pinch point, but the other one will be the U-turn on the other far end before heading your way all the way back, doing the same route again, because that U-turn you're just going to have to slow down, otherwise you're going to fly around and maybe skid, trip over, because it's a little bit gravelly on that U-turn, so definitely take that one slowly and it will slow your pace down and you may lose like 1 or 2 seconds. And finally, we'll move into the most important section of the video, the tips and tricks for if you want to attend this run. So let's start off with public transport, because I definitely recommend getting public transport rather than driving there, as there is the Hamili. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct at all, but it's just here, and that stop has both the bus, the metro and the tram, and then you literally walk west for about 2 or 3 minutes and you will get to the start of the park run. But if there is no way of getting public transport, there is obviously some parking around as well. So there's some parking here and some parking at the Hamili garage as well, which is around here, which the first hour is €2, and then after that every hour is €1.20. And then finally, if you do want to pop over for a post-park run coffee after, the pronunciation is going to be horrific for this, but you can head over to the La Torre Fazione Hamili. So you can head over to that cafe, which is located just here. I hope everyone appreciated that pronunciation of that word. And now back to my GoPro stats, and not much has changed at all. Only the number of park runs has increased from 21 to 22. Unfortunately, all of my times have stayed the same, but we did get very close to that 5 arches time, bearing in mind it did have a slight hill in it, whereas 5 arches is fully flat the whole way. And that is TOKOINRANTA Park Run complete. And if you do have that 5k app and you know about the tourist challenge, I've now completed 5 countries, being the UK, Ireland, Poland, Norway and finally Finland. So we have done all 5 countries to get that achievement, so I'm very happy with that. And also, if you are a local app that this TOKOINRANTA Park Run, do make sure to let us know of any of your tips and trips down in the comments section below. You can put anything helpful, from how to get there to what time you should meet, whether anything of the information that I've said is incorrect and it's changed now from what it says on the site. But if you are finishing this and thinking, oh, I want to watch another park run, we did TOKOIN last week, which was in Norway, and that was really good as well, so go and check that one out. Or you can check out all of my other park runs in my worldwide park run playlist on this left hand side. We will be heading our way back to the UK next week, where we will be doing Worcester Park Run, so that should be good fun as well. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you want to see that, and I'll see you all in the next one.